interesting, hasn't it? With cryptos, nothing too dramatic, but all quite nice. I found it anyway. So we're streaming now live on YouTube. I may as well remind you all that we know out there in the crypto world there are a lot of Marlons and Titos, but every week here on Friday on Genius U Crypto Hour we have the main Jackson, Luca Bernardini. One thing I will share with you before I hand over to Luca is that me and I think Archie was there, and Tim and Stan as well. So not to leave Dimitri out, but there will be others on the call who weren't on our private call on Monday night. And I'm wondering if, I know Luca isn't going to give the same information that he gives to us on this call, but I'm wondering if he's going to be alluding to any of that, because I've been following closely some of those projects, and I don't know if you guys have, but we'll have to wait and see, won't we? So how's it looking for you? Are we live on YouTube now? It says we are.
Yes, I'm just getting the link, and then I will put it in the chat box.
Hi, Cornelia. Nice to see you here. Is anybody here?
Everything is so slow.
Yeah, no worries. Is anybody here while we're chatting? Is anybody taking cryptos for their goods and services? Drop it in the chat if you want. I'm interested to know if people are accepting. I've been asking around and I haven't really found anybody yet. Okay, well, I'd like to know more details then, Dimitri. Can you tell me what gateway you're using or what platform, or if you are accepting in an informal way by private transfer or whatever? And same for everybody. You know, it's not really a yes and no question. If you could give me some details, I'll be grateful. If you don't want to share, then that's fine. But it's something that I'm looking into closely. I'm working with a couple of people on a new site, and it's something that we're considering incorporating. So I'll be interested in people's feedback as to who's using crypto payments for their goods and services. And I know that Donna tagged Jonathan in my post about it, so maybe he's got something to mention about that as well.
I was just going to make a quick comment on that, Duncan.
Please do, Stan.
And Luca and I have spoken about this one. I just bought my own unstoppable domain so that I can use my domain address as being my, the address that they can send payments to. Mm-hmm. The only problem is I've got to pay gas fees to get it off, yep. And the gas fees are probably more than what the actual domain cost. So I'm not. That's right.
So what the ideal situation to me, and I haven't really even looked into it that much of what other people are doing, because I tend to do a bit of desk research, but not go into it too deep because it will be over my head. I've got other people looking into that for me. But the way I look at it is that you've got to have a certain amount of liquidity, because you don't, if you're constantly having to withdraw and deposit in fiat currency, then it's just going to eat up anything you could possibly make on whatever deal you're doing. So you need a certain amount, a fair amount of liquidity so that you can afford to accumulate coins and pay out cash all at the same time without having to move one to the other. And that's really what I'm looking into, because I know lots of GU mentors and partners would love to be able to accept cryptos, but unless they're holding cryptos and they're accepting the ones that they want, as it were, then they've got these problems that it's just all lots and lots of fees and stuff to add on. I can see Luca, I can't work out whether he's looking confused or impatient. Are you still working on stuff, or are you
That's
waiting
fine.
for me to shut up?
All done now, Duncan. I have posted the link, the YouTube link in the chat, and also to you by Messenger. So we can get it live on Facebook if you want.
Okay, great. I'll go ahead and do that. So I see Dimitri saying that he does accept fees, but I think this goes back to what I was saying. Most people I've spoken to at the moment, accept crypto, sorry, are just doing it in a kind of informal way and are facing the problem of obviously fees. All right, well, something I'm thinking about. Any more input on that, drop it into the chat, and over to you, Luca.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Morning, everyone. And as usual, there's quite a lot to talk about this week. But before we start, I just wanted to make you aware of something, because one of the groups that I am part of, we had somebody that unfortunately got their account hacked. Okay, so again, when we're talking about these things, sometimes they feel like events that are normally happen to other people, but can happen to any one of us. And I just wanted to make you aware that how things happen, okay? And the way this guy got hacked, and unfortunately lost about $20,000 worth of crypto that were in his Kraken account, is by receiving a notification on his phone asking to verify his account. So then he clicked on that notification and he put his verification number. And that's it. Once he did that, he was locked out of his account. All his cryptos were transferred into Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin was moved out of his account and never to be seen again. So the one thing I always tell you, and especially, if you are, people that work with me, you know exactly that we talk about this, is the easiest way not to be hacked is never to click on any link. I know it's simple to say, but this is normally how, because we got like two-factor verification, this way of verifying the accounts, hackers need not just to have a password, but also need to have a verification code as well. And unless we give it to them, they won't be able to access their accounts. So, just remember, never ever click on any link connected to your crypto accounts. Okay, if you receive a notification, an email, even if it's genuine, from Binance, from Kraken, from Coinbase, that tells you, please verify your account, or please click here to do this or to do that, never do it. Always go into, if you want to, and it seems genuine, then go into your account, log in the usual way, and do whatever they ask you to do from there, but not from the link, okay? Because this is the way that people get into your account. And then if you hold part of your holdings, crypto holdings in an exchange account instead of on your wallet, this is the way that you lose them, okay? So remember that if you don't click on any links, you are much less likely to be hacked. So simple thing, nothing too complicated. Just remember, don't click on things and you'll be happy. All right. So let me share my screen now to talk about a few things first. To talk about news, and I won't be too long today, but just wanted to bring your attention to a few things. Okay, let me just move all these banners. Make it difficult to. Okay. Okay. So let's look into, first of all, this is what I would like to go to this one. I really like this tab on CoinMarketCap, which is countries which allow cryptocurrency as legal tender. At the moment, obviously, we only got El Salvador, which is now being released. So it is actually now it is active in the country, and all businesses have to accept Bitcoin as payments for goods as well. So it is legal tender. But the reason why I'm showing you, because there were talks about Ukraine, as Ukraine has passed laws that make, they're not so much they make Bitcoin legal tender, but they've established a legal framework for cryptocurrencies in Ukraine, and also make it possible for crypto exchanges to set up and operate from Ukraine legally, which is very important with all the all the FUD that you've been hearing about Binance and other crypto exchanges having trouble in different parts of the world. And on top of this, it seems that they want to take it one step further and go the same way as El Salvador. Okay, so it could be the second country potentially. This is not really something that's going to happen tomorrow, but we're talking about potentially next year. But this is what the reason why I wanted to mention, because there are a few countries that are talking about this, and in particular, apart from Ukraine, we've heard a lot about Panama, Anguilla as well, countries that are talking about it, Paraguay, Venezuela. So as you can see, you can start getting an idea. They're not really, the G7 countries, or even the G10 or G20. But we are talking about countries where they could do with some help with their infrastructure, okay? So I don't want. We already talked about this extensively, so I'm not really going to go talk a lot about it. But I think it's important to talk about it, especially with what's going on in the US, okay? Because from one side, you got some countries that are fighting cryptos, and on the other side, you got countries that are welcoming it. And in a way, it's almost like the battle between the haves and the have-nots. because what's happening in the United States, you've heard about the SEC actually fighting, not fighting, but going against Coinbase. What we're going to talk about today is it all can be seen under the umbrella of decentralized finance. And this is why this is the battle that's being fought right now. And I've been talking to you for months saying, expect a fight back from established power, which is the financial, the financial powers, the banks and the financial institutions that have accumulated, not so much, not talking about money, but accumulated, because this represents power in the world, okay? And as decentralized finance goes directly against the seat of power, there is a fight back that we're seeing right now, okay? So, what the SEC has done, they are telling Coinbase, basically, Coinbase is trying to launch this product. It's called Coinbase Lend, where people can deposit their stablecoin and get an interest of about 4% on their deposits. Okay, this is similar to what you would get in a bank for a savings account or for a deposit, for a term deposit on your savings. Now, why is this important? Because you know that in banks, the interest that you receive on your savings at the moment is close to zero, 0.1, 0.2% if you're lucky. And the Coinbase has the same protection in the US, that is not internationally, but in the US, has the same protection as bank accounts. So money deposited into your Coinbase account as an insurance of $250,000. So if you hold money in your Coinbase account, it's the same basically as having money in your bank account. So if you think about it, why then, as a saver, why would you keep your savings in a bank that gives you 0.1% rather than keeping it in Coinbase that gives you 4%? Even if you were not into crypto and you're just talking about some interest on your savings, kind of like it's kind of a no-brainer. Saying, okay, I'll put it there. I've got the same protection. I might as well get some interest on it. Okay, so really now you start understanding why decentralized finance is important and what kind of battles are being fought at the moment. Okay, because this product from Coinbase goes directly against products in the banking system, in the financial system, and gives them, in a way, almost from the bank's point of view, they see it as kind of like an unfair advantage. But when you think about it, it's not that they couldn't afford to give 4% interest to their savers. It's simply that they rather keep the 4% interest to themselves, because they're getting a lot more than that from the money that you deposit in their accounts. But they always, we're talking about blockchain as removing the intermediaries that are not adding value to their transactions, and this is exactly what a lot of the financial system is. Basically, it's just taking a lot of the value from the economic transactions away from the community and keeping it for themselves. Okay, so the things that we're going to talk about tonight are, again, in the decentralized finance world, because this has been the highest driver of cryptocurrencies 2021. Okay, and the projects that we're going to talk about, which are Solana, Avalanche, Ethereum, Cardano, and we are going to talk about them all as in this kind of angle from decentralized finance, because it's been the main reason why these projects have grown so much. Okay, you might have heard in the news that Solana, let me just go into that as well. There was a network outage in Solana. Okay, that basically they said that there are too many transactions on the platform, and basically Solana shut down for about a day. Okay, so there were no new blocks being created. The network was really, literally, almost like shut down and restarted, as you would turn your computer off and restart it. Now, you're saying at the same time, nobody has said anything, but it is thought that this is a result of an attack. Okay, at the same time, there was an attack that we know of on Ethereum. Now, that's the two differences, and this is why I wanted to bring this up. Okay, the difference between the two blockchains and what being centralized or decentralized might mean, because you couldn't shut down a project like Ethereum, like they've done with Solana, They can only do that with Solana because at the moment it is highly, highly centralized. More than 90% of the tokens are in the hands of a very few holders. Okay, so remember that. And there has been some criticism because of this. At the same time, when the same thing happened to Ethereum, Ethereum carried on working throughout, basically shrugged off the attack, which was like no more than a kind of a passing blip in the system, where Solana was brought to a complete halt. But even the fact that a cryptocurrency, decentralized cryptocurrency project, as they claim Solana to be, can be shut down, it means that it is not decentralized, because you can't shut down a decentralized network. Understand that a lot of the driver between for the growth of Solana has come from the idea that there are so many people that want to be involved in decentralized finance applications, and Solana has invested a lot into decentralized finance. But at the same time, they don't want to pay the high fees that they have to pay on Ethereum, where up to now, really, all the decentralized finance has lived and been developed. And the fees on Ethereum are kind of very, very high at the moment. So doing anything, even a simple transaction, as Stan was talking about earlier on, may cost $50, $60, $70, which is ridiculous, really. So projects like Solana, that basically what their unique selling point is, we do things lightning fast and it's very cheap. I've taken a lot of ground, and really they come out of nowhere in the past few months, and really developers that are working in the projects are only started to come to the project in the last 3 or 4 months. Okay, so the difference between a network like Solana and one like Ethereum is that Ethereum has been up and running, working and fighting hacks and attacks for over 6 years now, and it has kind of developed a thick skin, if you want to call it like that, because part of being strong as a project is how you fight against things that that are happening to you. And Ethereum from that point of view has proved to be strong because they've been able to withstand many different problems and many different attacks. Okay, now the same attraction that there has been towards Solana in terms about what they do, what they bring to the smart contracts and to the decentralized finance is been what has pushed Avalanche and given a lot of interest, and obviously there's been a lot of growth to the Avalanche ecosystem for a very similar unique selling point. I mean, Avalanche is from the point of view of technical innovation, it is the fastest blockchains in terms of from interaction to finality, and also they've, like Solana, they've invested a lot into decentralized finance. So it's grown over 60% over the last 60 days, and it's grown, I can't remember, it was about 200% in the last month. And they've just announced a 230 million investment round through a private sale of tokens. There's just been announced, so you had a lot of attention in the past 24 hours. Okay, but this is all within this rush to decentralized finance and to smart contracts. Okay, so it has the same narrative that Solana does. But, and again, I just wanted to make you all very aware that do not chase just the price action of things. Okay, just look at the innovation and look at the technical innovation that some of these projects are bringing, because although at the moment there is a lot of hype in crypto and a lot of projects are basically boosted by news of what they can potentially provide, there is a big difference between potentially providing a particular product or a service and then doing it in the real world, because it's only when these products are available to the market that we see if they do actually deliver or not. And if there are problems, like we see now Solana, for example, having the first problem, is because it's the first time really that people are interacting with it and actually using it for real world use. So this is why. So keep price action in mind, obviously, because if you interacting with this to from an investment point of view, obviously that's you are looking to earn money, obviously, to invest in projects that go up. But at the same time, be very aware that there are projects that are being there, maybe taking the slow route, like the Cardano and like the Polkadot of this world, and have taken an attitude that is better to deliver something that is solid and will withstand the strength of the market when it's launched, rather than trying to be the first to market and applying, kind of trying to basically get just market share. They rather their project be solid, and they are built really to deal with the next level of cryptocurrency adoption that we are going into. So we are very, very quickly moving from the hundreds of millions that we are beginning of the year with just about 100 million users in cryptocurrencies, and we're soon moving into the billions that we should reach. We should reach the first billion users within 2 years. So the infrastructure must be a lot stronger than it is right now to cope with a new level of interaction. We're seeing, obviously, that's the problem that has stopped Bitcoin and Ethereum so far, is that really they can't cope with the level of traffic. So they've been limited in what you can do with them, and this is why the projects that are coming right now are trying to they're starting from the problems that they are trying to solve. From users of the blockchain, they are frustrated because they can't do the things that they want to do directly on the blockchain. So now, when we talked about Solana and Avalanche, now I want to talk to you about Cardano. And that Cardano is just launched the smart contracts, beginning now, kind of last Sunday. And we will see now a number of projects that will be launched on the Cardano ecosystem in the next month or so. And this is probably going to be the biggest talk in town. At the moment, for me, it's very difficult to look away from Cardano and Polkadot. Really, two massive projects that are taking years to get to this point, and they are now delivering the goods. Okay, Cardano is obviously delivered the smart contracts, and now you'll see a lot of apps being released on Cardano, and Polkadot now has started to deliver the parachain options that at the moment are going on Kusama, which is the testnet for Polkadot. And as soon as they finish those, they're going to start with parachain options on Polkadot itself, the main chain. So these are two massive projects that you'd be very silly looking away from them for a long time. Okay. Now, the difference is with Cardano is that the architecture of the smart contracts is an improvement on what Ethereum does, and in a way, would be an improvement for the DeFi industry as a whole. Okay, because with Ethereum, basically, to invest in decentralized finance, you have to trust the smart contracts. Okay, because you have to deposit your coins in the smart contract to then interact with the decentralized finance application. With Cardano, you can do that from the safety of your own wallet. Okay, so, and at the same time, you can stake your coins in Cardano staking pools, and at the same time use the same coins to participate in decentralized finance applications. So this gives you obviously two different uses for your coins, because normally on Ethereum you either do one or the other, and at the same time you can use decentralized finance on Cardano to do what is called like automated yield farming, in the sense that you can compound your your interest on Cardano in a way that you can automatically do on Ethereum, because of the high gas fees on Ethereum. So, these are kind of like two emerging projects like Solana and Avalanche on, especially aimed at decentralized finance. I know that Solana is very active in NFTs as well, but really a lot of the institutional money is coming in because of the decentralized finance. And this is kind of like an adult way of looking at the same problem, and a solution that Cardano is offering is actually bringing something new to the market altogether. And we let's wait for the good projects to be released on Cardano, because it's probably going to be the things that we talk about now for the next for the next 2 or 3 months. So what time have we made? We made it 8:30. So I think it's a good point maybe to start to just have a look at Bitcoin and where we are at the moment from a charting point of view. And you see that we're still playing in the same playground, that we've had since May. I've been talking to you for months now, since after the 15th of May. Once we've had this drop to the 30,000 level, we established a kind of range between 30 and about 48,000. And I did tell you that the kind of like the fight will start when we get in between these two white lines, okay, between the 48 and 51,000. And really, we will have started the move up again once we can establish once the price establishes itself below, the 51.5, 52,000 level, and then we can use and retested this upper price level to then move on the way up. But at the moment, we're still ranging, and we haven't really gone through this level in a significant positive way from the point of view of momentum. Okay, so we're still at the moment playing with it. But at the same time, if we look at on-chain metrics, we know that both Bitcoin, this is a Bitcoin chart, of course, but both Bitcoin and Ethereum have seen a reduced supply on the market. So many long-term holders have actually removed their coins from exchanges where they will need to be when you want to sell them, and they put them in storage, or they put them to work in decentralized finance applications and so on. Okay, and especially with Bitcoin, we can see on the age of the coins in circulation, and the fact that most of these coins, most of the coins that have been spent in the coins that have been bought, let's say, from the beginning of the year, are now really being spent. And I told you before, a really sad story from this is that where Bitcoin is grown from 30,000 to where it is now, about 50. So anybody who had Bitcoin at the start of the year, and will be, although he hasn't been the highest performance asset in cryptocurrency, will still have done reasonably well. So 30 to 50,000 is, you're talking about almost about 65% increase in price. But unfortunately, most of the people that bought Bitcoin at the beginning of the year have actually lost money. And this is something that you can get, it's about a 22% loss on average on new coins being bought. And also, what the on-chain metrics tell us is that most of the new coins have been spent. So people that got into Bitcoin in 2021 are now sold their Bitcoins. And these Bitcoins are being bought by long-term holders. They are still accumulating. Okay, so we are seeing this almost like being readied as a coiled spring, because both Bitcoin and Ethereum have seen a reduction of the circulating supply. Ethereum, a lot of the tokens in Ethereum, and we can have a look at the Ethereum chart as well. What has happened with Ethereum is that a lot of the Ethereum tokens now are being placed, they're being staked to the proof of sale contract. So in a way, when you stake to support the Ethereum 2.0 upgrade, you don't have access to those tokens anymore until the upgrade is released. Okay, so there are more and more tokens now that are being deposited in the proof of stake contract, and obviously when that means that they're not available for for being traded, they're not in circulation. So And on top of that, from the beginning of August, Ethereum started burning part of the fees when each block is being created. And now, you know, they have burned more than $1 billion worth of Ethereum since the beginning of August. So there has been a reduction of the inflation rate in Ethereum because of this kind of like this what is called the Ethereum improvement proposal 1559, and you can find this in Google if you Google it. As part of that improvement, the inflation rate has gone down in Ethereum because they're burning tokens, and it is thought that when Ethereum moves to a proof of stake system, the whole coin will become probably will become deflationary. Okay, so this is one of the narrative as well that has started driving the price of Ethereum up from, you see, where it was at the end of July, below 2,000. At the moment we are 3,000, 3,005, over 3,005. We went up to 4,000 again. So there has been reduction of the circulating supply in Ethereum, and at the same time burning of tokens too. So both Ethereum. Let me stop sharing this. Both Ethereum and Bitcoin have got a supply shock in a way, because there are many people that want to buy them, not many places to buy them from. And funny enough, in a way, it's the same technique that was used to get the price of Solana up so much. Because if you look into it a little bit, Solana, as I said before, is highly centralized, and all the holders seems to act together in the sense that they don't want to sell at any price level. At the same time, there has been a lot of promotion in terms of getting celebrities on board, football teams, and so on. So there's been a lot of interest around Solana, and being that the supply is controlled, this has pushed the price up to really incredible levels. So it's kind of like you have to ask yourself, when you want to get into a project, are you happy to be part of a project that is controlled by very few hands or not? And we're talking about Solana. It's the same narrative around Doge as well. Okay, so just think about it, because it's somebody else. We get into crypto because we want to have freedom. We don't want somebody else to control our value, and you don't really want to get in projects that do exactly the same thing but call it with a different name. Okay, so be aware of this. Okay, Duncan, shall we start getting into some questions?
We would if there were any, but people are a bit quiet today.
Okay, anybody wants to be first?
You're welcome to unmute yourself, guys.
Yes, maybe. Yeah, okay. Stan, go first. Anyway, I just repeat that. Did I get right that at the moment it's like impossible to buy Ethereum and the Bitcoin? Is it?
No, it's not. It's not impossible. It's simply that we're talking about liquidity. When you go to, if you have shares, for example, in a company, you don't really need to go to the stock market if you wanted. You could sell them to another person directly. Oh. It is easier. It's easier on organizations like the stock market out there, because they provide liquidity, so they become an easy way that you can interact and buy and sell your things. It's the same thing with cryptos. If you want to buy or sell coins, you could do it from on a peer-to-peer level. So buy them from somebody else. You can buy them from me, I sell them to you, and we can do a private transaction. Or you go onto an exchange that makes things easier. Whether it's centralized or decentralized, you still need liquidity. And from centralized exchanges provide liquidity themselves, or a decentralized exchanges, you interact with what they call liquidity pools. So basically, for a lot of coins, that is not possible to buy on centralized exchanges. There are decentralized exchanges like Uniswap that create these liquidity pools, which is basically if you can imagine, two baskets with the same value in two different coins. Okay, so let's say that I want to trade Ethereum and Avalanche. So I create a liquidity pool with the same number of Ethereum and Avalanche in both baskets. And then you, as a user, if you want to buy or sell either of the two, you interact with the smart contract, and you know that there are enough coins there to, you know, to let you complete your transaction. Okay, and then you will pay some fees, you know, as part of your transaction that help the protocol to work and to be supported. So somebody must provide the liquidity when you when you interact, and what we're seeing, especially, you know, you can see on chain when Bitcoin, for example, is moved to exchanges or not, and this is kind of the lowest level that we've had of Bitcoin on exchanges for years. That means that there is very short supply, you know, and that obviously can have an influence on the price, because if there are many buyers and not many sellers, the price go up, and the opposite happens in the other way. So we see that before we had big drops in, for example, in Bitcoin prices, we see a rush of coins being deposited onto exchanges, because people intend to, you know, trade with them. And once they moved away, it means they moved away for safety, because people prefer to hold them and are not thinking of selling them in the short term. So this is what we can say. You're not saying that it's impossible. It's perfectly possible to deal with it, but it's you know, it's something, it's interesting to say, because it can tell us where we are, you know, where we are moving in the future. If there are not many people that have their coins onto exchanges, in a way, it's a bullish signal, because it means that people are comfortable holding those coins.
And another question is that was it that Ethereum release at the moment, it's like in decline until the new version will be released, or is it something like that?
The problem with Ethereum has been for a while is that the cost of transacting. Okay, so there are lots and lots of apps on Ethereum, and everybody wants to be on there because it's probably the safest blockchain that there is, and it's got a huge ecosystem, massive, and it also, on top of that, it's got a huge community of developers. Because it's fine, you know, if you think about investing in different blockchains, but if you're thinking from the point of view of a service provider that wants to release an app, then you need some developers to work on this app. And, you know, it can be, you know, the blockchain that you decide to release it on may be as good as you want, but you can find anybody that can program in that language. And then, you know, you have to wait, and it will take you months, because although it's a great, fantastic project, but, you know, if you can't find developers that will develop your product, then it's pretty much useless. So, so Ethereum is a place where a lot of people want to be, but it's been difficult for the small guys to interact with Ethereum because of the high transaction fees. And sometimes, you know, it's been on periods where it's been very busy because, for example, NFTs have been released. That transaction in Ethereum have gone into the kind of the hundreds of dollars, which is insane. You know, so, you know, if you had $1 million that you invest in something, you don't really care if the transaction fee is $10 or $100. But if you're investing $200 in something and you have to spend $60, $70 in transaction fees, then you think about it twice. Okay, and this is why there are solutions like Avalanche, like Solana, like Harmony One, that allow you to do transaction at a fraction of a cent. You know, market, you know, Polygon as well. So there are many different solutions that have had a lot of traction. That's been obviously the reason behind the Binance Smart Chain success as well. You know, fast and cheap. So that's been the kind of the main driver this year is different blockchains that could do what Ethereum could not. So being fast and being cheap, the main reasons behind it. Nobody else cared really about anything else like decentralization, but now it's coming into play because now there are going to be solutions like Cardano, like Polkadot, that not only are fast and cheap, but they're also safe and secure. So we often talk in crypto about the blockchain trilemma, which is, you know, decentralization, security, and scalability. And very, very few projects can tick all three boxes. And the ones that concentrate on one more than the others normally is at the cost of, you know, not being perfect in one of the other two areas. Okay, so, you know, I would say of the big projects, Cardano is probably the first one. Together, maybe, I mean, it's funny because you find the projects that see things in a certain way and end up working together. And I mean, maybe the three projects that have been more active in this area are Cardano, Algorand, and Ergo. Okay, and these three projects that have looked at things in a particular way, and Polkadot as well, but although they have a completely different approach to things. Okay, so yeah, just think about it. That the reason, you know, don't just look at price when deciding what to buy and what to get involved with. Okay, because there is a reason why certain projects are moved more slowly than others. Okay? Generally, because they got safety at their heart, and they're looking a lot more long term than other projects. So they want to make sure that their innovation is safe and secure.
Okay, thank you.
Stan, did you want to come in now?
Yeah, my question was about probably the new world and the old world. And I want to say new world, let's say that we're talking Netflix, and the old world, we're talking Blockbuster. We're talking about Wall Street that's trying to protect themselves, and they've got their own little thing. And then we've got obviously the blockchain. I'm just wondering if somebody's going to blink somewhere and say, you know what, we have to join them, otherwise we're going to get taken out like blockchain, like Blockbuster was taken out. Netflix offered Blockbuster buy us out for a fraction of what they're worth right now. Surely there's some big players out there that might say, you know what, we're going to lose. We're not going to exist in 5 years' time unless we join them. And if that happens, I could just imagine what could happen. Something's just going to explode. You know, Wall Street wanted to protect their brokerage, and then all these discount brokers came out. You know, because of cheap fees or whatever it might be. The blockchain offers all of that. So what are your thoughts if somebody blinks and says, we've got to join them? And who could that be?
Well, we've seen that already in play. I mean, it's not new. But you know, from the point of view in general, blockchain, the way to see it is that blockchain, there is one thing that it does particularly well, is remove the intermediaries. Okay, and if you think about it worldwide, just in the financial industry, it is thought that 6% of any transaction is absorbed by intermediaries. Okay, so just think about it on a worldwide level. We could increase the world GDP by 6% by moving the financial system from a legacy system that we're using at the moment to a decentralized system. So that's just from one point of view. From the point of view of people joining these new technologies, already happening. It's already happening. I mean, we can see, for example, in the United States, and we can see a movement towards banks offering more and more crypto-related services to their customers, and at the same time, we can see that crypto exchanges moving a lot more towards a banking model. So we'll see banking becoming, in a way, crypto exchanges, and crypto exchanges become banks. And there are already some notable examples of that, like, for example, you know, Coinbase and Gemini in the US. They have got very high security, and they got kind of like part of banking licenses as well. And at the same time, we see other, you know, traditional exchanges like Kraken trying to provide more security on their system, and to start moving towards a you know, banking model. So this is already happening from that point of view. But also from the blockchain point of view, you see that there are some big players already trying to promote kind of like a sponsored type of blockchain, like for example, either Hashgraph and Quant are two projects that are very well supported by industry, and although you know, sometimes because of it, they sometimes being frowned upon, because the whole movement in a way was launched to move away from big business and from controlling interests. So there always like projects like that. They are very well supported. They've always been looked with suspicion from the early crypto innovators. That really were putting and often if you see the big projects are completely open source. You can look at, for example, anything that Cardano does. You can look at the code if you want. You can copy and release it yourself. Because it's all available. It's not protected by any patents or anything like this. It's work that's been done by many people without looking at personal gain, looking at improvement for everyone to use. And there's been a lot of the narrative in many blockchain projects. They are really trying to deliver solutions of kind of like a new way of doing things for everyone. Okay, does that answer your question, Stan?
It does. I mean, the reason I asked the question is that you look at Goldman Sachs. Their market capitalization is what Coinbase is, and Coinbase didn't exist so many years ago. Goldman Sachs could have been Coinbase on the blockchain, but they just didn't want to go there. And one of these big players is going to jump across before the other
definitely.
Competitor does.
Definitely, but why do you think the SEC is going against Ripple, is going against Coinbase, is going against Uniswap? Because they are the biggest threats to their established power. I mean, the SEC really is a cartel. It's not there to protect the users. It's there to protect the financial industry. So it's kind of like realize that, and just like when you start seeing things for what they really are. And just a little example I want to give you, because many people are talking about taxation and what would happen if we moved on to this system. Just think about one thing, okay? When you have inflation, when we are in the fiat system that we have now, let's say you buy an investment product, okay? And that could be an asset of any type. It could be gold, it could be a house, or let's talk about a house, but we all got experience of maybe owning a house, okay? So you buy a house as an investment. Let's say you spend, I don't know, $100,000, just say an amount, okay? And you got at the moment, we're well aware at the moment, real inflation in the US is running about 20%, because of all the money supply that's been introduced into the market. So in a year's time, everything's gone up by 20%. Imagine, okay? So your purchasing power, your house that you bought for $100,000 is now worth $120,000. But at the same time, the food has gone up, the price of cars, the price of everything has gone up by 20%. So if you want to sell your house now, you have to pay capital gains tax. Let's call it 20%. Now, what is that 20% tax levied on? Just think about it that way. So if everything has gone up and the real value of your investment hasn't gone up, what are you paying? You are paying part of your capital. So you are transferring your capital which is the accumulated value that you generated through your work throughout your life, and you are transferring to the state. Okay, let's call it like that. Okay, so this is not a tax as it was meant to be, a tax on your gains, but this can turn out to be a tax on your capital. And this is how the kind of the fiat system has been designed. And when we are looking at the long-term statistics, and we see that real wages, for the average real wages, have actually gone down since 1971 to the present days, we must realize how this system has been designed and who is benefiting. When people say, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, it is true. It is proven by facts. It's not just a thing that people say. But when you start looking at numbers and looking at statistics, you see that in the US in particular, the top 1% is now over 15% richer compared to the average. and the same has happened for the other side of the coin. So there's been a transfer of value from the poorest part of society to the richest part of society. Okay, and this is the way that this, the system's being designed to protect this transfer of value. And this is why people have thought have been moving towards the cryptocurrency, the blockchain, financial system, because they can understand on an intuitive level. They understand that their purchasing power is being eroded by keeping fiat money, keep saving fiat money, and they understand that although that we blinded by this volatility of prices, but if you look at it on a long-term basis, as a store of value, there is no comparison between the two systems. Okay, let's take some more questions.
There are a few bits and bobs here now in the chat. There's a very long one just came in from Annie. Maybe it's just written in a long way and it's not a really long question coming at this time. Cornelia wonders about the safety of buying Bitcoin from a private person versus an exchange, and would expect buying privately would be very dangerous, I would think. Well, I wouldn't like to meet Cornelia's family, because but anyway, please do give us your input, Luca.
There are platforms where you can do that safely through smart contracts, but generally it takes a lot longer because when you are dealing person to person, then physically you want to sell a coin, you need to find somebody that wants to buy the same coin, and you have to agree on a price as well. So it is kind of like a slow transaction, and it's generally more expensive than doing it through an exchange. But it's not necessarily a problem of safety. So there are ways of doing it safely as well. So that's not an issue. It just maybe at the moment the solutions haven't been developed yet to make it as attractive as other ways of buying and selling cryptocurrencies. What was Anna's question?
There's a question from Annie, but prior to that, I wonder if you've got any quick thoughts on blockchain gaming and gambling for Dimitri.
Okay, first of all, Annie was talking about one thing you say, Annie, is that the exchange value of traditional money is immutable. Oh, that's a big statement from you. And I would say the opposite of that. Absolutely the opposite of that. From if I ask you, how much is a dollar worth, and I would tempt you to answer that question.
No, sorry. I know. Yeah, I know if we talk about, in terms of currencies, but I mean exactly, for example, I know that something price is maybe $10, and if I buy or I pay by cryptocurrencies and cryptocurrency value goes up and down in seconds, it is my general question.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, the reason is that we got two different standards. Okay, so we got the fiat money standard, and then we got the crypto standard. And what we're seeing is, by the existence of a country like El Salvador now, where cryptocurrency is becoming a standard as well, we are starting to see the two systems fight with each other. But let's say if you were living in a world where there was no dollars, no pounds, no fiat currency whatsoever, and you were only paying with Bitcoin, for example, the prices will be very stable. The only reason why these are so volatile is because the exchange between fiat and crypto is changing so quickly and so volatile. But if you remove that from the equation, then it wouldn't be there wouldn't be a problem. At the moment, when you are dealing with cryptocurrencies, basically you are always dealing. So you set your prices not in cryptocurrency, but you set them in fiat, and then you pay with the equivalent amount of cryptocurrencies. Okay, so this is what's happening in El Salvador, for example. If you're a retailer, let's say you're a coffee shop selling coffee, you have now to accept payments in Bitcoin. It doesn't matter that if somebody pays you with Bitcoin, that you have to have Bitcoin in your account. You can accept through the app that's being used, which is, by the way, Duncan is a Strike app as a payment provider. You can accept to be paid in Bitcoin, or you can accept to be paid in US dollars, and that will be managed by the app. Okay, but your prices obviously are set in US dollars. So obviously your coffee, you'll never price your coffee in Bitcoin. you price your coffee in dollars, and then the amount of Bitcoin that you pay for your coffee varies every day, varies with the market price.
Okay.
But at the moment, you still need the, you know, that stability in the first place, and this is why also stable coins were created to create a more stable asset that you can where you can use to calculate prices. So although now we have stable coins like USDC, USDT, they are pegged to the US dollar, there are also emerging lots of stable coins that are not they don't use the US dollar peg, but they are based on a basket of cryptos to be collateralized instead of US dollars. So the most famous example is DAI. Maker has been in the market for a long time. It's been the major decentralized finance application for many years, and DAI is one of the it's kind of like a cryptographic stable coin that's been used for a long time.
So the answer is that actually you in a real transaction you use stable coins.
And well, it depends. It depends on, it really varies from app to app. But generally, the system that we're going through and is being developed, kind of point to sale systems, will allow you to pay with whatever you like, either fiat, credit card, cryptos, and the retailer will get paid in whatever way they like as well. So they use it's kind of like an exchange, foreign exchange system. Where you can exchange at the point of sale directly. If you had, for example, some types of accounts like TransferWise, Card, or Revolut, you can use your card when you go abroad, and you can decide which currency you're using when you're paying with your credit card. Okay, so you can pay if you go. Obviously, if we're in the UK here, you go abroad and you go into Europe. And you can have some euros in your account and decide to pay directly in euros, so you're not paying exchange rate fees. So there's all these systems are developed really at the point of sale. The point of sale interface will do all of this for you before we get to later on when we can interact directly peer to peer with cryptocurrencies. But that's a little bit far away yet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. What else? The other question.
The last question, I think it's the last one. I'll have a little scoop through again. Was from Dimitri earlier, and really he was just wondering about your thoughts on blockchain gaming and gambling.
Yeah, I think blockchain is a perfect fit for gambling, in the sense that talking about blockchain really replaces trust from peer-to-peer transactions. Okay, and how do you place your bets normally? Whether you do it online or you do it in person, you go to a betting shop or a betting app, and you place your bet and you trust that the other side is going to pay you if you win your bet. And there'll be many notable cases of people that won big bets, and the betting providers have refused to pay out, just citing excuses. I think, there was a problem with the system. I think, well, sorry, but that's your problem. It's your system, and you take money. So that's a contract that's being closed when you take somebody's money. And so from a point of view of finality, you can think about it. A bet from a blockchain point of view is a smart contract, saying I put $10 in there. If event A happens, those $10 go to the betting provider. If event B happens, then the betting provider will pay me, whatever is the reward for winning the bet. Okay, so and that happens automatically. So we all know, we decide that there is a particular feed where we are going to get a result of the event that we're betting on. And once that high price feed has come in, the contract will act automatically. We don't have to. It's not going to be a person behind it saying yes, pay this bet, or not, don't pay this bet. It's all done automatically. So it is a big improvement, for the betting industry. And there are many apps that they are trying to get in, kind of like online casinos and betting shops that are using the blockchain now because of that reason. So people can trust that things are happening automatically. And also another area is that is growing. It's online trading. Online trading again, where you're not trading with a broker, but you are trading with a protocol. Again, that's because again, I mean, if any of you have tried day trading, you know that any broker will at one time or another will have shown some what they call spikes, spikes in price that you don't see on other price feeds on other brokers. So you understand, well, if you, and that's very relevant if you have played some automatic trades like stop losses and something like that, and then you go and look at the price and think, why is my stop loss being triggered if the price didn't get anywhere near it? And those are all things where trust comes into play. Because you're thinking, can I trust that price feed or not? So having kind of like a system where all that is taken care of, I think is very attractive for a lot of people that are involved. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. Sorry to butt in, everybody, but to just put it in capitals, this is a reason why you really must not buy and sell cryptos on the Coinbase app or site. Coinbase Pro is not so bad, but I have personal experience of Coinbase seemingly adjusting prices to suit their own objectives and costing clients a lot of money. I put an order in quite some time ago to sell some of my graph coins. I'd somehow accumulated far too many of them at a time when I fancied them. I don't know. And I was very naive. I just tried to sell them on Coinbase, and on Coinbase, you don't kind of enter the market. You don't put your sell price, or you don't choose a sell price. You just hit sell, and they select the price for you. And I lost around £400, and I'm still battling with them about it now because they struck the price at like $4 a coin less than the price I can find on any chart anywhere on the internet. Even on their own Coinbase Pro charts, the price did not go that low. But they say to me, if you look at the T&Cs on Coinbase, we can pretty much put the price at whatever we want because we set the price. And in a way, I don't think I'm going to win my money back off them because it's quite right. Their terms and conditions say we can rob you if we want. So sorry to my rant there, but please don't ever buy or sell coins on Coinbase because this will happen to you. And if anybody wants proof, let me know and I'll show you the chart that they've got goes like this. And then at the point I bought, it went like that for a minute, sold, sorry, and then carried on. And on all of the charts, on all of the exchanges and sites, the price just went like that. So I don't think I'm paranoid. I'm pretty sure that they thought, oh, he's selling a couple of thousand quid's worth. Let's give him this price and make more money. And that's my experience.
Oh, thank you, Duncan. It's also a good idea generally to, if you're not in a rush to buy and sell, if you use what they call limit orders on accounts, it's not just as good because generally you can decide what price you're happy to buy and sell at. But also it is good from the point of view that you pay less fees because as if you put a limit order in place from the point of view of the exchange, you are providing liquidity, okay? Because your coins would be unavailable for you to do other things with if you are placing an order on the system, basically, okay? So if you got cash, for example, if you got pounds or dollars and saying I want to buy Bitcoin, then those. You say you want to buy $1,000 or particular, those $1,000 won't be available to you to do other things with them unless you either cancel that order or that order is executed. Okay, so you are basically providing liquidity to the order book, and as such, you are rewarded in the sense that you pay less fees for your trades than if you just hit, buy $1,000 of Bitcoin at market price. Because if you take the market price, you're taking the liquidity that somebody else has provided. So you are a taker is called a taker of a particular order, whether if you are providing if you put in a limit order in, you're a maker. Okay, so you are making an order, and then for other people to take if they want to interact with your price level. Okay. So
absolutely, and I just add that that's the problem. You can't do that on Coinbase on the basic app. You can only hit buy or sell. They only show one price, and they clearly say in their terms that they're absolutely no obligation to actually do the deal at that price. It's just indicative. Whereas on Coinbase Pro and all the others, as Luca said, you can either choose your price and place your order, or you can buy or sell at the market price, and they show you the price, and that's the price you buy, you pay, or get. Coinbase, I believe, I don't think it's because they're some kind of criminal organization. I believe that's in order to simplify things so that people that don't want to see the market and just want to pay whatever they're charged are able to do it on a very simple app.
Yeah, decided. Yeah, you're right. And also the, as you know, Duncan, the actual fees on Coinbase are very high. Coinbase Pro are obviously about 0.5%, but Coinbase are actually quite a lot higher than that. So
it's 10 times higher. I've seen.
Yeah.
May I ask you, Duncan? Do I hear you say that if you buy something on Coinbase, if you buy a Bitcoin, that even you don't know if you will get it for market price? Maybe they will charge a higher than market price as well, make you pay more.
Yeah, because what they say is that they display a mid price. It's indicative price of roughly what the price is, and then when you place your order, they say that they go into the market and they get you the best price they can. But the first thing that I'd say is that they clearly don't have any incentive to get you the best price they can. And the second thing I'd say is that they're not strictly paying a market price, because they're going into their own exchange to do the deal for you. And therefore, as a centralized exchange, as Luca said, they're providing a lot of the liquidity themselves. And therefore, it's not like they're a user going into the market and saying, right, what are the prices? They're probably striking lots and lots of deals all in one go at various times. And so, yeah, they get the opportunity to choose the price that suits them best. And to my mind, there's no real way that can work out good for the user. And it's really simple. Just get the Coinbase Pro app if you love Coinbase and don't want to use one of the other ones that Luca recommends over Coinbase. And you can transfer backwards and forwards between the two. So, for example, I know somebody, he's on the call now, Andrew. He really likes the simple app with Coinbase, and it is quite good because it gives you bits of news and videos to watch and a really simple display of your portfolio in a line graph. It's great, and you can just transfer your money over, or your cryptos over to Coinbase Pro when you want to trade. And if you prefer, come back to the app. I personally would forget about all of that and just use the Pro or one of the ones that Luca recommends, Binance or Kraken, because they are better. But all I'm saying is just don't buy and sell coins or anything on Coinbase Pro.
Yeah, I understood it very well. And could you explain to me what is the technical difference then? What does Binance and Kraken do better or differently than?
Well, Luca answer that question because he knows a lot more about them. He's been using them a lot longer for me. I can say basically from my point of view, from a pure user point of view, you've got more control over your trades. You're paying a lot lower fees, and there's much more information in there. The information you get on an app like Coinbase is very basic, but more technically than that, I can't go any further.
Yeah, I think you covered it mainly, Duncan. But it is kind of the fees are a lot lower. Binance is the lowest. You can get 0.1% for trading on Binance, and you can even go below that, depending on your trading levels. But they give you a lot more options especially to control and the type of orders. I mean, without being technical, there are different types of orders that you can put in on some of these platforms that are not available on Coinbase. But Coinbase has their main selling point has been simplicity. So they are definitely very user friendly compared to other things, and that's how they have made. They have grown their business, because a lot of people that come to crypto for the first time are not interested in the complexity. They just want to do something simple, and at least they cater to that need. Okay, which they do well. Obviously, people that are in crypto and generally don't really interact with Coinbase a lot because there are cheaper and better ways of doing things. But they do serve a purpose, and then they're very US centric. So there are many apps that you can't use, many exchanges that you can't use in the US, and Coinbase is you can, and is also regulated. It's on the stock exchange, so you know, for the US market, they definitely dominate. They dominate that.
Yeah,
I've got
but I really
sorry, Cornelia. I wanted to raise
It's
another point from the chat, but you carry on. I thought you'd finished.
Yeah, I just have one thing to say. I'm very happy, Duncan, that you told us this from your user point of view and your experiences. Thank you. And to me, it sounds so weird because I was so blonde thinking that Coinbase and Kraken and Binance are sort of, that's their main reason for being, giving you the market price, being the market, and so giving you that was their central product. And so this is really, it shakes my world.
An analogy I would give, and it might not be a very good one because I don't imagine we've got too many degenerate gamblers here on this call, but if you wanted to place a bet on a horse race, you can walk into a branch of William Hill's or Ladbrokes or any other bookmakers around the world, or you can log on to a betting app and you will get odds. But you will get much better odds if you were to go onto a betting exchange like Betfair. It's more complicated and you have to find somebody to trade with and you have to understand what you're doing a little bit more, which is why 95 out of 100 punters go to a bookmakers rather than getting involved in a betting exchange. And I guess that's a similar analogy because, like I said, I don't think Coinbase are trying to be a criminal organization. I think what they're doing is they're charging quite handsomely for a service that makes everything very easy for you. And I'd like to think that most of us now, after being on Crypto Hour for weeks, but hopefully getting the confidence to get past that stage and not rely on these kind of consumer apps that are going to be sucking our profits and use the real apps that people like Luca use. Yeah, there's something I want to raise while I've got the mic, as it were. And if I may, Carol asked me a question in the chat, but I think it might be useful information for one or two people here on the call. Carol said that she missed my emails or our emails when we were giving everybody the opportunity to join Luca's micro school a few weeks back. And to answer your first question, it was a 5-day micro school, Carol, not a 5-weeker. So it was over that week. But if anybody else, and specifically you, Carol, if you want to get that content, you now, like most of our live content on Genius U, Luca delivered that 3 2-hour sessions or 4 2-hour sessions spread over the course of the week. Everything that Luca delivered was based on a degree within GU, and the recordings went in there day to day after they were completed. That now is a standalone learning module. So rather than turning up each day on Zoom and listening to Luca, what you can do is you can just start that degree and you can watch that in a recorded format. So it's now a micro course. It's because it's not live, it's a little bit cheaper than the micro school. And as you are a Crypto Hour regular, I'm sure Luca would be prepared to create some sort of a voucher for you. So let me follow that up with Luca after the call, and I'll email you about it, Carol, and show you what I mean, so you can have a little look around and see if it's for you. And that goes for everybody else on the call. If you didn't do that and you're now interested, let me know. Or I'll drop the link to the micro course now if we've just got time, so you can be having a look, and then I'll drop you an email, Carol. That wasn't salesy. Carol asked me.
Okay.
Over to you, Luca.
I think we're gonna have to finish in a minute because I have got a call at 9:30. So any other questions I can take before we finish?
I can't see any in the chat. Oh, a point from Jonathan, though. DeFi is so important. It is the jewel amongst all the noise and promises for buying and selling. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense to me. Well, it agrees with what I said, so I like that.
Okay, I don't know, Dimitri, I don't know what you...
School, guys.
Yeah, I don't know what you're referring to when you say Cardano's finished his 6th round of funding. The Cardano, there aren't any private sales of Cardano tokens. So it might be some apps that are doing some funding, and not Cardano itself. Oh, you talking about Project Catalyst? Yeah, Project Catalyst is a community fund. You know, that promotes projects that are delivering some interesting innovation on the Cardano blockchain. And it's really interesting actually as a project itself, because what they do is that they have a grant that is available for the community, and then the community can put together proposals that are then voted on by the community. So it's the community that decides. It's not one central agent that decides who should get the money. It's the community itself that decided what is relevant and what really fits in with the ethos of the Cardano ecosystem, and with what everybody wants to see as well on the ecosystem. And those are the projects that receive funding. And in a way, it's seen as a microcosm for the way that Cardano is preparing really to run whole countries, because it's kind of like the voting system has grown from a few thousand now to over 250,000. And there have been the last vote of funding. I think there were about more than 800 projects that have been put forward. So it is starting to become kind of like a behemoth, really, massive things. And this is what the difference between some of these projects that are coming to market quickly and something like Cardano is. Cardano is planning to run whole economies on it. It's not just planning to provide some smart contract capabilities. It's really is planning on providing the infrastructure that will run the world. So it needs to be a little bit more secure than other projects, because the things they will do on it are pretty serious. Okay, so let's leave it at that. I would get you in, Jonathan, but simply we need to close the call now. But next time, and let's carry on the conversation in Discord. And by the way, for those of you that are interested, there is a Cardano. Jonathan, if you just want to announce what the event on Cardano is, if anybody wants to be involved.
Yeah, there's the Cardano Summit coming up Saturday and Sunday. It's in London. There's a meeting point, but there's several around the world, and it is from 3 p.m. UTC until midnight. It's going to be streamed from all the different locations around the world, and it's going to be full of all the news around the ecosystem of Cardano. Some very exciting projects will be announced and talked about, and yeah, it's going to be good. Yeah. I'm heading down to London for it, so yeah.
Yeah, it's next weekend. Yeah, not tomorrow, but next weekend.
Sorry, yes.
And and for those of you that are around London, they're interested in London is on the South Bank. Okay, so it's really good. I'm planning to be there. So if anybody wants to be there as well, and meet me there. I think it's going to be really, really good, really fun. Okay,
Lovely.
So Duncan, if we can close the call.
Can I just ask you one question, Luca? Not specifically about cryptos, but just asking you in public. But I do also need to know myself. When is your London Entrepreneur Social?
It's the first Wednesday of every month.
First Wednesday.
So, at the moment, it's still online. We'll see probably to restart in the in-person meeting probably early in the new year.
Okay. As I broach the subject, I think I'm going to be doing a little presentation myself about GU and getting the most out of the platform and any sort of the latest developments, bringing people up to date. So that's just something for you to bear in mind. First Wednesday of the month, Luca's London Entrepreneur Social. You can join it online, and there you go.
Yes, it's very relevant, because what Duncan is going to be talking about for all of us that are mentors and they're releasing projects and want to interact with Genius U is being kind of like sometimes a difficult platform to work on, but Duncan has made it a lot easier for me to use, and I'm really grateful for you, Duncan. How you helped me out in putting my product on Genius U, and I think it's useful for a lot of other people that are wanting to do the same, to understand how to do it. So we're going to be from 7 to 9 p.m. The first Wednesday in October. I can't remember what the date is, but you can work it out. And Duncan is going to have basically the lion's share of that evening to talk about GeniusU. And then obviously, being as much as it is possible to network on Zoom, there is going to be some networking on Zoom as well, as we tend to do every month. So yeah, it's going to be. I'm really looking forward to that, Duncan.
And so am I. It's actually the 1st of September.
Sorry, September. So what I'm talking about? Sorry, no, October.
Sorry, what am I talking about as well? I'll see you next year. So it's
No,
not
it's
the
going
1st
to be-
of September, guys.
It's going to be the 6th of October.
That was worth a plug, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just going to drop the. You got lots of members in there, Luca. We should be advertising Crypto Hour in here. There's nearly 500 members in your London City Circle.
I have actually.
I
I have tagged the
good.
London City Circle this time.
I've just dropped the link for Luca's other communities, London City Circle, into the chat, and I guess that event will be there under the events. So it'd be nice to see some familiar faces there. All right.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Thanks for joining us.
Then.
Crypto 90 minutes.
Yeah, and if you if anybody wants to contact me, just very quickly, I just type my emails address there as well.
I've got it tattooed to the inside of my skull now. I've used it so many times.
Oh, sorry. Where am I? I'm messaging to.
Want me to do it?
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to. For some reason, I had it locked on somebody. Cornelia sent a message to Cornelia.
Beat you to it.
Oh, okay. Fine. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay,
I'm
then.
fast, but I'm not thorough.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing you all next week then at the same time. Same place, same time. Okay.